Well, I was watching the TV, and, you know, the rhetoric of the extreme socialistic, Marxist, progressive left, which has been disgusting, the globalists, I call them the globalist left, that have adopted a policy of enslaving the whole of humanity. And I anticipated, or I have been anticipating, an incident happening because also the rhetoric in the American media. You know, you guys get just CNN over there. Maybe some people get other, like Newsmax or Fox or OA1 or OAN. You may get a different point of view, but you get, I've been to Europe many times. I've been to Serbia. And all you have is CNN on there.
Yes.
And the hatred toward Donald Trump from the beginning. I was there in 2015 when they were talking about it, and they were giving lies, and I saw the lies, and it was frustrating. And they continue with the lies. So when that happened, I, of course, was concerned, and I said, where was the breakdown? There was a shocking moment, to make it a simple answer, you know? But anything, it's very disturbing. The New York Times has betrayed America for over 100 years. In the 1930s, there was a man named Walter Duranty, and shoved this in the ass of the New York Times. They gave him the Pulitzer Prize winner multiple times because the New York Times was reporting in Moscow on Stalin and lying about the deaths that Stalin was causing. And the left in America worshipped Stalin. They worshipped Stalin. So you could take the New York Times and use it as toilet paper. Only God knows, and we have to pray. And as you know, any leader is vulnerable, especially with the amount of opposition from the internal political apparatus. So that's a difficult thing, and I'm hoping because that was you know, Serbia has a beautiful symbol for the angel. Serbia has a beautiful angel, and I think that angel was there with Donald Trump on that Saturday, because there's no other explanation except divine intervention. I just love the Serbian culture. I love the Christian Orthodox Church of Serbia. The churches are beautiful. The monastery at Mount Athos, my friend. I have a very close friend. His name is Mulatin. I won't say his last name. He goes to Mount Athos so often, to that monastery, the Serbian monastery, which is absolutely stunningly beautiful.
You think Hilander?
Yes, Hilander.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Hilander, and that's a beautiful. I want to go there sometime. But the white angel from Serbia, I believe in mystical symbols. It happened in 1960s, right? In the 60s, with John Kennedy. It happened with Martin Luther King. It happened with Malcolm X. It happened with Ronald Reagan. It's a technique done by left-wing extremists and people, and maybe even right-wing. I mean, you don't know. It's a dangerous time. It's always been dangerous. Politics is a dangerous time. Even the Pope tried to assassinate Pope John Paul. So you never know. And there are deaths, there are assassinations in Chicago every weekend, hundreds, and around the countries. You know, you can call anyone being killed as an assassination in some say. But political assassinations over politics, I think it's a very difficult time. And the rhetoric of the left-wing Hollywood that held up Donald Trump's head and wanted him death, and even somebody as great as Johnny Depp, who said we need another John Wilkes Booth. The rhetoric of the Hollywood left is a danger to the world, because people pay attention to what they say and what they do. And they're lying to the American people. They're manipulating the American people and the world. And it's terrible. Even someone like De Niro, who should know better to keep his mouth shut. There's no secret that Satan works in the world. And there's no explanation when you have traditional values. When you have the left talk about you have to follow the science. You have to follow the science, except for when it doesn't propagate their agenda. And it's a crazy thing. And, you know, so getting back to this idea of satanization, yes, there absolutely is. You can see it in society. You can see how, you know, look, I don't care if you're gay, straight, lesbian, or transgender. That's up to you. Live your life.
Yes.
But you cannot deny the science for generations and thousands of years. Any transgender who's buried, any female who's buried, and exhume their bodies in 500 years, they will not say they're men, they will say they were female. Both genetics. So you can't deny the science. So stop playing that game, but let there be a transgender, fine. Let have a separate sport for transgender sports and stuff like that. But stuff like that is where, I mean, I'm going away from the question, but yes, there is a satanization of society. The death of children, abortion, for instance. You know, and then the left says that women are going to lose their rights. What? First off, the body of the baby is something else. The body of a child is a different DNA. A woman has been taught. And you have people in our government that can't tell you what a female is. They can't say, what's a woman? It's crazy. Now, you can say people have different proclivities. Absolutely, I accept. I accept lifestyle. I've been in entertainment my whole life. I've had gay, transgender, lesbian, I don't care what it is. And I've respected them and become friends with some of them. You know, but don't ask society.
Yeah.
People are people. Don't ask society. And don't start going into the educational system. The satanization happens in the educational system in America, which has been overtaken. The teachers' union is a Satan. They want to teach these kids. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I've got 8 kids. My 5-year-old daughter. They want to have, you know, transgender parties in the school. That's wrong. That's wrong. What is that? So people see that and they say, where are the traditional values? So that is, it's a very complex thing. Are you referring to what Clinton did during those times?
Yes.
Look, it's what you're seeing in the world with Ukraine today and Russia.
Yeah.
When Trump was president, he brokered peace. He had 2 peace deals with the Abraham Accords with Israel and Saudi Arabia. He was brokering peace. He could do it. And I think if you have a strong American leader that isn't someone that wants to pull the trigger on the military-industrial complex so weapons can be used, there's a way around all of this kind of political unrest and differences. There's a way to talk. This is what we're supposed to do. The League of Nations was created for that. The United Nations was created so we didn't go to war. We were able to sit down and come to a peaceful solution. And I have to be honest, you know, I mean, some sides don't want that. Well, that's a mistake. Anyone can make a mistake. I don't look at Biden, and I don't say Biden has been a backslapping bullshit politician for 50 years. For 50 years, Biden has been this. It has nothing to do with him being an old guy in his 80s. People make mistakes that they're 25 or 85. People can sometimes say, that's not the issue. That's why when I directed the movie, My Son Hunter, I took out all the references to Biden being really that out of it. Because it's the policies that matter. And they use this other thing as a smokescreen, and they use it as a sympathetic aspect, so the elderly people go, oh, leave poor Biden alone. He's such a wonderful human being. No, he's not. He's a bullshitter, has been a bullshitter for 50 years, lying about himself, his accomplishments, and switching sides and being a racist for a period of time. And what happens is the left-wing media, they protect, like they did Stalin, like Walter Durante. Go back to that. You have to go back to history. That could save the world? Well, Jesus Christ, you have to come back to the Savior, Jesus Christ, in history. For somebody living now,
yes.
Come on. I said it. I've written articles the day he came down the escalator in 2015. Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump has the fortitude, the strength. Let me tell you a story to my Serbian brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Do people know Nikola Tesla? Do people respect Nikola Tesla? Is Nikola Tesla a Serbian hero?
Yes.
Nikola Tesla was a genius, correct? I'm asking your audience.
Yes.
All right. Nikola Tesla, I grew up in Long Island, New York, and when I was, before I grew up, of course, but Nikola Tesla was doing experiments on Long Island called Wardenclyffe about an energy machine. He found that there's an energy field, just like we're able to do this on the phone.
Yes, yes.
There's an energy field we can access for free. Tesla knew this. Tesla experimented with this. He was ripped off by Thomas Edison. We know this. We know what happened to Tesla. And he died not rich in a hotel apartment in New York City.
Yes.
And he was doing these experiments on energy. And when Nikola Tesla died, he had 70 boxes of experiments and notes and information. Now, on the same floor, the CIA and the FBI had rooms because they were waiting to see what Tesla was up to. When Tesla died, they took his boxes. They took all his work. Okay?
Okay.
The CIA and the FBI. Do you know where they brought it?
No.
They brought it to MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, a very high school. Do you know who they brought them to and said, please, tell us what Tesla's working on? Do you know the man they brought it to?
No.
A man, John Trump, Donald's uncle, Fred Trump's brother, was the head of physics at MIT, a brilliant mind, brilliant friend, that they brought Tesla's work to him. So Reagan, in the 1980s, gave a Medal of Freedom to John Trump. And I believe that the Iron Dome in Israel, because remember in the 1980s, Star Wars defense. Remember? Reagan wanted Star Wars defense?
Yes.
Think about that. Tesla and Trump had a connection in there. And they want to say that Donald Trump is a genetic brightness about it. There's something he can smell and see that others can't. And if you look at interviews, and I challenge you, go to the interview if you haven't seen it. Go to the interview that he gave to Oprah 25 years ago, or Larry King. Donald Trump was respected and revered. He was also made people angry because he beat them, some of them, in real estate deals and other things. So there's a little bit of jealousies and resentment, and that happens. I'm talking about the creative genius of Tesla, that they took his writings and wanted someone to say, what the hell is he talking about? And they had to bring it to John Trump, Donald's uncle. So when they talk about Trump being stupid and Trump being this and Trump being, it's another lie. You see, people don't know this, so they go around going, he has bad tweets, mean tweets. It's absurd. It's absurd that the public is so stupid sometimes. Or should I say, so manipulated. I think so. I believe that. The guy, he met with Kim Jong-un. The guy's a peacemaker. Look what he did. Look at if you watch the Republican convention, his choice for VP, J.D. Vance, said that Donald Trump in 2016, he hated Donald Trump. He was a never Trumper. He said bad things about Trump. And then Trump became president. And J.D. Vance saw what Trump did and says, they lied about him. They lied about him. And he changed his stance on Donald Trump, J.D. Vance. And Trump brought him around. Trump called up Robert Kennedy Jr. recently. Trump is a peacemaker. He's a man who understands. He used to go to church every Sunday with his father and listen to the sermons and didn't want them to end because he believed in the power of positive thinking. So he's a positive thinker. He has a positive energy about him. And I don't do anything, as a dilettante. I research, I question, I find out. And most of the public just listens to CNN or some other news service and thinks, oh, this is what the truth is. They get they're cheap. And you follow a celebrity that doesn't know anything. So I think, Trump is a peacemaker. I think he look what he did with the Abraham Accords. This is what the globalists fear. This is what the military-industrial complex fears. Let me ask you something. Are Serbians nationalistic?
Of course.
Is anything wrong with nationalism? Nothing national, right?
No.
But what the globalists want to do is destroy countries. They don't want Serbia to be Serbia, France to be France, England to be England. They don't want that. They want to tear down the borders. They want to change the world so they can enslave us. This is what's going on. Klaus Schwab is a danger to the world and freedom. Bill Gates is a danger to the world and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
There's many, many things that are happening that are frightening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on this planet for 7 decades. 7 decades. And we understand there's difficulties. There's differences. And there's a long way to go. But when you see the left fueling the fan of racism continually, calling Trump a racist, when he got the NAACP award, that's the award from the black organization. He had many friends. He was never racist. They revered him until he ran for politics.
Yeah.
And then they turned on him. Why? Okay, yes. He was a bull in a china shop. But I'd rather have a bull in a china shop breaking some teacups that really are worthless than to have a quiet little mouse that's going to let the world go to hell, like we're seeing with Biden. I said earlier, you said, is Trump a peacemaker? Mm-hmm. And I said, J. Vance in 2016 he was a never Trumper. And then Trump became president of the United States, and J.D. Vance said himself, he says, I stopped listening to what the news media and others were saying about Trump, and I watched what he did for America and the world. He says that I've changed my mind.
Nice.
If Trump wasn't a peacemaker, he would say, many of us, how many of us would have, if somebody said shitty things about you, would you go back to him later on and make him your vice president? Would you say to him, he said terrible things about him, and then he changed his mind? Or could you be open-minded enough to say, we can negotiate, we can work together to unify and better America, and better the world?
Yeah.
How many had ego? So yeah, J.D. Vance, I know that he converted to Catholicism a couple of years ago. I know that he is articulate, he's bright, he's 39 years old, he's married with children, his wife is from India, she's of Hindu descent. He is and he sees politics much like Donald Trump does, which is important because you need that unity. Because the first time around, they talk about the swamp. That 2015, 2016, his first term from 2016 to 2020, he had people stabbing him in the back and the front and all over the place. You know what I mean? And getting back to that term nationalism, it's important to have a national identity. It's pride in the country. It brings the country together as one. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to destroy the country. They're trying to. You got a guy like Gavin Newsom, who's Nancy Pelosi's surrogate nephew, who was brought up by the Gettys, who's been in the mafia of California politics, is destroying California. He destroyed San Francisco. No law and order. And he's a phony. He's a hairdo and a smile. It's so deceptive, and the people get. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being so adamant and passionate about this, but it needs to be said. People need to hear. I love it. I tell people to come and let's film in Serbia. I had a great crew, a great group of people. I had the best time. It was wonderful. It was really wonderful. And people can watch the film, and that whole film was filmed in Serbia with a Serbian crew, a Serbian DP, and take a look at that film, just for technical aspects, just for the locations. And the thing I want to say is, who's the best tennis player in the world? Tell me.
Of course. Who would be? Novak Djokovic.
Novak Djokovic. He's the best tennis player in the world.
Yes.
And does everyone love him?
No, in the world. For all time.
Of all time. Best tennis player of all time. Does the world love him? Donald Trump is the Djokovic of politics. You understand?
Yes.
The Serbian people will understand that because he didn't want to do the he didn't want to go with the sheep, with the shepherds. So they because he was such a powerful figure and he didn't go with their agenda, they demonized him. I remember him being demonized, not being able to play. So, in other words, assassination. He went through an assassination.
Yes.
He and Trump are very similar. Tell that to the Serbian people. That's the headline.